Just want to remind everybody that this is the World of Warcraft that I came up on and fell in love with. The 3 female NPCs in the background, that's your guys' World of Warcraft. This was mine. You think this guy's picking you 15 flowers? He stands as a manly testament to better days. And for all my family that came up on the real World of Warcraft, just know that we mourn together. We mourn together.
Hello everyone, welcome to Wowcast.
Oh, I
Today
love
we're
the
talking about our next major
glasses.
content update, Guardians of the Dream. And I have 2 special guests here with me today. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Taylor Sanders. I'm an encounter designer on the World of Warcraft team.
And I'm Ann Stickney. I'm a senior narrative designer on the World of Warcraft team.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. What is coming with Guardians of the Dream?
But I just want to be crystal clear before I get to, giving my ideas that I'm not taking any shots at these wonderful people. If it's up to me, I'm taking Hanson here, putting him in the middle, lathering them all up and getting my food buff, if you know what I mean. But people want to know, what do you think about 10.2? Well, let me give it to you very simply. I believe World of Warcraft's #1 problem is this, that we need a lot of new players. Now, when I say new players, I don't mean people that have never played World of Warcraft. I think a good demographic to go after would be those old World of Warcraft players. I mean, because they've obviously at some point had something they liked about the game. I think you're very likely to be able to get those people back in the game before you're able to get random people that have never played World of Warcraft. And honestly, if you've never played World of Warcraft, or I don't know anything about these guys that start these YouTube channels, I've never even heard, it's just, and they got to pretend like it's this mysterious, wonderful thing. It's like, dude, where the fuck have you been? Okay. I honestly think it's a little weird. Like, where have you been living, bro? You love gaming, but you've never played WoW until 2023? Come on. It's a weird shtick, I think. But it is what it is, and we all trying to get views. So you got to do what you got to do. What do I got to do? I got to put my face on here like I'm getting fucked just so I can get people to click on my thumbnails. So, Oklahoma, what do you think about everything coming in 10.2? I feel the same way about 10.2 that I felt about every other new zone that comes with a new patch. So right away we get a new island. And what do we know about islands? Because if you've been playing World of Warcraft for any amount of time, you've hit some islands now. We've hit the islands like Marines in World War II at this point. You'll be very familiar that every Blizzard island has 3 things in common. Number 1, it's beautiful. This is going to be a gorgeous island. The art's going to be just amazing. It's going to be a cool zone to cruise around on. There's going to be a ton of shit to do because that's what these are really made for, right? These islands are made for people that don't unsub. They're trying to keep you busy, keep you going. So now, we got to get you a new gear set and get your number up. We'll talk about that here in a second. And the third thing is, and this is what they all absolutely have in common, is that they become completely useless assets after that patch update, right? So we will never use this again moving forward. After Dragonflight, most certainly not, right? So Blizzard loves to build little islands that we use for a bit, and then we just kind of done with them. And they've been doing it. They do it early. They do it often. It's just their way. A lot of people really excited about Diablo. And why not? Diablo games are always a blast for a month. First things first, I think to no one's surprise, a new zone. To be fair, it's not technically an island. It's a cave. But you know what this is. There's going to be a bunch of shit to do. And between the island they just dropped and this cave they're about to, you're going to be in a giant shit to do sandwich. That's fine. It's kind of fun rolling around doing shit sometimes. So as always, the new zone is beautiful. And it's cool to roll around in. And you can fly around from rare to rare and loot shit. But I'm just not sure that this new zone, new factions, new mounts formula is just going to work forever and ever. But I could be totally wrong. So for those of you who are just eating this up, best of luck in your glitter games, and may the best snail win. That about covers it, right? Beautiful new zone, new world boss, new raid. This is the one I think a lot of people would want me to comment on. This is a complex one, so bear with me for a second. So Right from the start, I don't think you need another competitive game mode. I will say this will be the most popular competitive game mode if it goes live. I get 8v8, right? It's a competitive mode and smaller teams make each player's performance more impactful. But the most fun is having giant team battles. I think this will be an improvement for most people over solo shuffle. I think most people that PvP will like this more than solo shuffle. I don't think you need another competitive game mode. I don't understand why people can't farm up their vault in an epic battleground or a random battleground. I don't know why you're tying getting gear to playing a shitty game mode that a lot of people don't want to have to play, and less people are playing, as your queue times will tell you. So I want to be crystal clear with this, Oklahoma gang. I am a random battleground fan. And what I love about random battlegrounds is that it's okay to lose. And I think we need game modes where it's okay to lose. Yeah, I try hard. You guys see me. I don't fucking try hard. You know, there's times when I'm playing WoW that I'm really focused and I'm into it and I'm loving the game. There's other times I'm listening to music or watching a podcast or watching a stream, or I got a kid in my lap. Some of y'all are out there trying to work from home. You got WoW on your second monitor. There's just many times today as an adult gamer that you've got your attention divided across many different worlds, let's say. And anytime you start attaching MMR and rating to things, it's going to bring that legion of guys who it's just so important to them that they ruin the experience for other people. That's what it is. The community likes to blame everyone but themselves, but they've done a horrible job of encouraging and building new players, which is what I'm trying to address. So I want to be very clear here. This is a cool thing to do. Your RBGs are dead. I think this is a great, fine idea. I'll also just tell you that your arena participation is going to plummet the second this goes live. And it is what it is. It's another competitive game mode that's going to be filled up with the same people that are in your other dying competitive game modes. I don't think you need another competitive game mode. Free the conquest, free the gear. I think there should be incentives and seasonal rewards for people that do X amount of healing in Battlegrounds. I think there could be class-specific goals for rogues and like stealth classes to cap a certain number of flags. There could be a ton of cool incentives and titles that you could give out every season for people that are, that do random battlegrounds, but you don't. You don't touch your random battlegrounds. You don't touch your epic battlegrounds. And after I've seen what you've done to a lot of these things, maybe I should just be grateful. But we don't need another competitive game mode. You have to incentivize and encourage game modes where it's safe for people to just go have fun. That's what I like about my random battlegrounds and my epic battlegrounds. It's just fun. Just good old-fashioned fun. I don't want you to bring in your competitive PvP community. I want them to all stay in solo shuffle, right? And I'll go interact with them as long as you force me to, so that I can fill my vault, and then I want to go back to having fun in my random battlegrounds. I don't understand why you won't let people fill up their vault playing epics and random battlegrounds. Why do you think arena players are better than people that just want to do random battlegrounds? They're both paying you $15 a month. What do you care? But you're just determined that the only people that you give reward and incentives to are your little Twitchies and your streamers that don't stop playing your game. More class reworks, as always. I think there's kind of getting to be a point break to the class reworks where a lot of people are getting kind of exhausted. If you're a druid or a rogue, of course, you're very excited because these classes have needed updates, and I'm glad to see that they're doing it. And I even said, hey, look, if Dragonflight's not going to be super successful, then at least take the time to hammer out your classes and get them squared away. And that could be what they're doing here. I think there's a point break to the constant fucking with people's classes. And honestly, it's getting a little old because no matter how good they make it, and I'll just take you to the Paladin buffs down here, you'll see that the reward for having your class made awesome is that for the rest of the patch, you just get nerfed to the ground. I think we can also all say that when you see this level of changes to all these classes, the likelihood that this isn't just going to be an absolute balanced shit show considering they still haven't even figured out what to do with augmentation evokers. One of the problems when you constantly do reworks too, that I think a lot of PvE players don't consider, is that in PvP, part of the skill is understanding what to do against certain opponents. When they're constantly changing and adding to your opponent's abilities, you don't ever feel like you can get a comfortable mastery of the game unless you play as much as the Twitchies. And again, less and less people seem like they're willing to do that. More dragon riding. Of course, these changes, again, are just for the people that love it. People will tell you it's the best thing ever. It obviously did not draw a lot of people back, but the people that tend to love it, love it. So there's some more for them. That's good. Here's a bone they're throwing healers in PvP. So 90-second reduction on the Gladiators medallion. If you don't know what that is, that's your trinket. How do I feel about it? Look, I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to say, hey, healers, we're trying to give you a little extra to, make it a little more bearable to heal. I don't like special treatment. And one of the concerns that I have with all of these changes incoming is that healers look like they're just going to be super, super strong. I hope that I'm wrong, but the reality is there's no way to test all this shit on the PTR. There's just not enough participation. So we'll have to see. But my least favorite form of PvP as a healer is when healers are too strong. I think shit should die. I think 2 or more DPS showing up should be a problem. And I'm all for healers having cool abilities and powerful heals. But they should run very quickly, and their heal should not completely negate all the damage being done. I absolutely want things to die, and I think it's imperative that things do die. One of the things I never want to do is shit on people's parade. And I tried to address this in the Dragonflight Dilemma video I did, but there's just a real gap. There's a huge number, well, I don't know, huge. There's a very vocal number of people who are telling the Blizzard community this is perfection. This is exactly, WoW has never been better. Dragonflight is the peak that WoW has been since, whatever great expansion they say. There's a lot of ways to measure and challenge that narrative, but I don't think you have to. You can just accept it. And honestly, if you're one of those people that's just loving Dragonfly for what it is and the accessibility and the beauty and the dragon riding and all the things that you love, all that, awesome. I'm really happy for you. And I think 10.2 will be, it's more of that. And so if you're loving it, you're going to love it. If you're real into Mythic Plus and rating and all those things, there's more of it to do. And you can push for a higher number. My concern is when I look at every metric that it seems to actually not be doing that well. And so, this is a real tough pickle that Blizzard's in. And I don't envy them. I mean it. I think it's a really hard spot. On the one hand, you have your community that's left telling you this is peak WoW and to keep going. But when you look across every metric I can find, it doesn't seem to be thriving in a way that they would like, I think. And most certainly not the way their shareholders would like. Now, the response to this from the Dragonflighters is just to say, well, that's just because of Shadowlands. Keep doing what you're doing and people will slowly trickle back in. I don't see any evidence, A, that that's true. And B, I think, one of the concerning things might actually be that it's very untrue. And that this formula is not working anymore. So Blizzard's in a tough spot here. I mean, this is a tough spot to be in. On the one hand, your fans, and fans are short for fanatics. They love it. They're fanatical about WoW and the world, and I am too in a lot of ways. So I have sympathies. I kind of feel like I'm not really in either camp at this point. It feels weird. I love WoW. I think it's great. I think it's a uniquely awesome game. I just think the direction it's in, and it's really in a slump. And my concern is that these types of content patches and stuff really aren't addressing the deeper stuff. And maybe you really can't with a content patch. Maybe the die is already cast and you just got to do with the best you can. And then maybe next expansion, try to come in and address some of these other complaints. But enough of the drama. It's going to be beautiful. There's going to be stuff to do. We're going to check it out. We're going to check out all the game modes, all the changes. You know me. I'm with you till the end, family. So chin straps on, Oklahoma King. We got another island to hit. The few, the proud, the retailers. Oklahoma out.